Welcome back to Court TV Live. Let's head to the Silver State, Nevada, where testimony has resumed in the Love Triangle Beheading case.
And the defendant here is a former porn star, defendant Devyn Michaels. She's accused of bludgeoning her decapitated ex-boyfriend, decapitating her ex-boyfriend, Jonathan Willett. And this all happened in August of 2023.
But the defense is pointing the finger at Michaels' ex-husband, who is also Willett's son, as the real killer, saying that he killed his own father in fear that the two would reconcile.
Inside of the courtroom, they are picking it up with a detective interview of the defendant, Devyn Michaels. So he's back on the stand, they're restarting this interview, and where they left off, the detective was asking her about items they found in her possession that belonged to the victim, and she said, look, we had been married, he asked me to hold on to things for him. Let's pick it up.
So you had previously indicated that you arrived at the scene with Dennis Ozawa, is that correct?
That's correct.
When you arrived on scene, did you interview anyone at Paladura?
We did.
Who did you interview at Paladura?
That's going to be Yoko, which is Jonathan's mother.
In addition, did you speak with the children there, or was that over at the Porcupine Rim scene?
Porcupine Rim location.
So let's move forward to the Porcupine Rim scene. When you arrive at that scene, what do you observe?
When Detective Ozawa and I arrived on scene, we observed Devyn Michaels going between the house and her vehicle, which is the Nissan Armada. And then I believe there was one child kind of playing around in the front yard.
Okay. Did you notice anything at the Porcupine Rim scene as you arrived other than Devyn Michaels?
I did. As we walked up the driveway of the residence, kind of off to the side, which would be near the opening of the garage door, there was a black cell phone.
Okay. And when you say off to the side, do you mean actually on the driveway?
It was on the driveway.
And which side of the Nissan Armada was it?
It would be to the left.
Okay, so the driver's side.
Correct.
Okay. When you observe the cell phone on the driveway, on the driver's side of the Armada, do you immediately go grab it, or what are you thinking at that time?
No, at that point we made note of it. That is something that we're going to want to include in our search warrant. So at that time we're leaving that so that we can collect it in a way that we can have it forensically analyzed later.
Okay. And I would presume at that point when you see it from a distance, you don't realize there's blood on it.
Correct.
But you're noting it, you're not telling the defendant about it, you're just, okay, that's noted, and you move on.
Yes.
And you indicated previously that you had an opportunity to speak with the girls, the young girls, is that right?
Yes.
And they indicated to you that the Devier had been home with them last night.
That's correct.
We went through the first interview in the beginning of your testimony. You recall that?
Yes.
And I called it the first interview. This is actually the second interview conducted by detectives, but the first that you were involved.
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to ask you, but how were you approaching this second interview when you first go in? What's your mindset?
Sure. So whenever we're contacting someone for the first time, we try to use a free format. We will ask them questions and allow them to give us a narrative in their own words. They're explaining the situation, the story, all of the things that they want to organically just tell us. And then we may ask a couple follow-up clarifying questions and sometimes repeat back to them what they told us so that we can feel comfortable that we understand what they're trying to tell us.
And you are aware that there was an interview conducted with the defendant prior to your involvement?
Yes.
And this second interview, your first,
yes,
was that investigative type, open-ended, like, hey, give us any information you deem relevant kind of thing?
Correct.
Okay. And just to briefly summarize, there was some discussion about, in that second interview, your first, the day before, shopping for school supplies, the defendant acknowledged she had been with the victim, and then she said he was alive and well in the garage when she left. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, during the course of this first interview you're involved in, we heard a little girl's voice approach. Is that correct?
It is.
Describe that, what happened, and what that meant to you.
So while we were interviewing Miss Michaels, we are engaged in our conversation. To be honest with you, I'm not sure which of the daughters, their names I still get mixed up. She had approached the window, and she has the cell phone that we believe is the one we previously saw in the driveway. And she says, "Mommy, here's Daddy's cell phone. That's why he didn't answer." There was a physical reaction from from Devyn, and she takes the phone, she hands it to us, and she made a comment, "This should help you." And then that's pretty much changed the tone a little bit to casual conversations to then it became a little bit more flustered.
Okay. And is it at that point where you noticed the blood on the phone?
Correct.
And I would imagine that's important for an investigator.
Very much so.
You, I believe, previously indicated that after that first interview, a search warrant is authored and conducted on the home and the vehicles outside the home at Porcupine Rim. Is that correct?
Yes.
During the course of that, we know the wallet with the current ID is found. It's tied in several bags in the defendant's underwear drawer, and it's kind of tucked away. Is that right?
Yes.
And then within that same bag is the truck keys.
Yes.
The Social Security card was found, but that was in her purse, not hidden away with the other stuff.
Right.
Okay. We were about halfway through that second interview when we had to break on Friday. And so just describe for us how you're approaching this second interview differently, knowing what you know about the blood on the phone and the items found in the home.
Looks like the feed froze there. We'll work on that glitch. Matt, when I'm looking at this case, there's a lot of overlap in other court TV cases, including the defense team for Devyn Michaels as someone that was recognizable to us.
Robert Draskovich and Michael Horvath, they were the attorneys that were part of the case representing Robert Tellez, the investigative reporter murder trial that you can catch on courttv.com. But that was a case that I covered, and they are very, very skilled defense attorneys. So that's another reason to watch this case.
Yeah, she's got a top-notch team. Also, our viewers will remember the Monica Cementilli case and Robert Baker, her co-defendant, and ex-husband of Devyn Michaels, we were able to confirm last week. Let's get to our break. When we come back, we'll have more of this trial in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Look at me. Did you kill your father?
No, sir.
Did you have any involvement in killing your father?
No, sir.
Did you have any involvement in what happened to his body after?
No, sir.
Pass witness.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Matt Johnson in for Ted Rollins alongside Julia Janae. Let's head back to Clark County, Nevada, where a former porn star is on trial for the murder after prosecutors say that she bludgeoned and decapitated her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, Devyn Michaels, accused of killing Jonathan Willett back in August of 2023, who we heard from earlier, was her husband, not the victim in this case, but that husband was the son of the victim in this case. And that's who the defense is pointing the finger at, Devyn Willett, who is still married to Michaels, our understanding, saying he's the one who killed his father because he was afraid that if his father moved in, he would lose his wife and their home.
This is a love triangle with a lot of twists and turns playing out there in Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's get you back into court now, where we're about to hear more of the police interrogation video of defendant Devyn Michaels.
And so we left off at 36:55, but just because we were really cutting it close, I want to start back at about 30 minutes of that interview and then resume. I may pause it a couple of times and ask you some questions, okay? May I, Judge?
Yes. One second. Remind us what you think this is.
6:20, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead. I don't know, like I have all of his full driver's license, I had all of this old stuff.
Okay. And then a whole wallet with the driver's license? How many do you think you have?
I think I have 2 of his licenses.
And are they both in wallets or?
Yeah, we have a old one of Devy's as well.
In separate wallets?
No, just in separate places.
Okay. Where was those other ones? Like the ones for Jonathan? Where did you keep those at?
The one drawer in Devy's in a different drawer.
Which drawer?
One's in, like, my drawer with like some doorknobs and stuff, and the other one's in a nightstand on the other side.
Oh, okay. And you think you have a couple of his driver's license?
I know I do, and I have them on my phone too.
Then why does he give you those, or why do you have them?
I don't know how it sounds, but he literally said, hold on to this because it's important. He literally said that. Like the social and everything. And I have the EBT card, and you can see it at the gas station. He handed me the EBT card and said, this is the code. And then he gave me the other one.
What was that?
I said, this isn't good.
Why did you say that?
Because he's telling me to do things, and you're asking me about it, and
Well, I mean, you're explaining it, that's why.
when you see at the gas station, he hands me the card and says, hold on to this in case you need something. Like,
And that's the EBT card?
yes, sir. And it's at the gas station. You can see him hand it to me.
The ARCO.
No, and not the ARCO. There's another gas station on the Pecos one where we stopped, and I think, yeah, because he gave me the card and then he went outside to smoke a cigarette. But it's on the security camera. You can see him hand it to me.
Do you know which gas station?
I don't know the name of it. It's by the Burger King.
Burger King, you know, like,
It's off the Pecos and Windmill. It's like right there. You can
Pecos and Burger King.
There was a gas station right there. He was talking about the man that works there. He parks
Like
right.
on the corner?
He was telling me about the man that works there, and he sleeps in his car and everything like that.
What time do you think that was at?
That was after we unloaded everything. We went right there, and I got a Monster drink, and I don't remember what he got.
So right after you left,
When we got back to his side of town.
so coming back is when you went to that gas station?
Yeah.
So, like, so after, it'd be after 9 o'clock. And that's when he gave you his EBT card?
Yes, you can see him hand it to me, and he walks out the door.
So that's right, that's near his place. You said Pecos and Windmill? The Burger King?
Yes, sir. Like,
So, Detective, we're now talking about kind of the Social Security card, the wallet. There's an EBT card that's referenced. Is that correct?
Yes.
Before we move on, I want to ask you about an exchange. It was a bit earlier in the interview, but would be duplicative for me to play again. Earlier on in the interview, you had confronted the defendant about the bloody phone, correct?
Yes.
And what was her general response with regard to that?
As far as the acknowledgement of the phone,
Yes.
she was surprised about the phone being at the residence,
Okay.
and it really threw her off when her daughter handed her the phone, and it changed the tone of
Yeah.
our interview.
And she claimed she was surprised. You're not saying she actually was?
No,
Okay.
she appeared to be very surprised.
Okay. And you had asked, and I'm simplifying, you had asked something to the effect of, well, how does blood end up on the phone? Does he hurt himself or something like that? You remember
Correct.
that? Describe that exchange.
So once we have the phone in our possession, we do note, and also her child noted that there was apparent blood on the phone. That's of great concern, and of course we're going to address that at the time. Began asking Devyn some questions related to that. She mentioned that he had injured his hand, and I believe she specifically said he took a chunk, and he being Jonathan, out of his hand. Then went into great detail, which stood out to me because the entire interview there hadn't been any detail on anything. It was very generalities. There wasn't a lot of, it was like, I don't remember. But in this case, she went into extreme great detail about the table, how it folded, where it was in the garage, how he had hurt himself.
And to be fair to the defendant, I believe she said, John told me that he hurt himself. I didn't see it, but she knew it, or claims she knew what he hurt himself on and that it was a very large injury.
Correct. And in addition to that, she did not see any blood or injuries on John's hands.
And Detective, you've reviewed the autopsy photos in this case.
Yes, I have.
Were there any bleeding injuries to the victim's body other than his decapitation?
No.
We're going to resume the interview now.
Let's bring back in Philip Dubé, who was standing by in LA County. Philip, this is one of those cases that the details seem to be almost more shocking than the crime, but the crime is horrifying in itself. Let's talk about how the prosecution is going to be using this interview, because this is Devyn Michaels in her own words. We don't anticipate she's going to be admitting to anything, but she is going to be detailing this relationship.
Well, of course, and it's going to be this fantastical, flexuous, sort of dysfunctional type relationship, and all along she's duplicitous and deceitful, because what is she doing? She's shacking up with her boyfriend's son. She's not the dutiful girlfriend. Instead, she is his arch villain femme fatale. You know, I mean, she's coming off, frankly, a little cray-cray and delulu as the antagonist here. I think what's really going to do her in is the fact that his blood is on the phone found in her possessions or on the car. I mean, that clearly suggests that there was some type of a geyser blowhole hemoglobin gusher of blood, and there would be no other explanation for his blood on that phone or why she would even have it. It would be one thing if she happened upon a bloody phone and she's trying to render aid and she gets on his phone to call 911, but that's not her story. Instead, she's trying to suggest that this was all sort of accidentally inflicted, but I don't know how you accidentally decapitate a victim and then lose the head and lose the weapon that was the instrumentality to remove the head. It's not looking good for this ex-porn star. Not looking good.
Yeah, and just speak about the fact that this is an ex-porn star at the center of a twisted love triangle concerning the victim being the father of her two other children, and then she's married to his son from another marriage, and she had a lover that is Robert Baker from another case that we had where he was the lover of Monica Cimentelli, who's serving time there in California.
For killing her husband.
So talk to me about how the jury may be perceiving all of this. They have to know at some level.
Well, to be fair to Devyn, I don't even know why her former profession is even relevant. Otherwise, the message is that if you are an adult film star, then you're homicidal, you're a killer, you're deranged, you're only looking for your next prey. So no, I certainly don't fault her for that. It just makes the story a little more delicious, if you know what I'm saying. And people are kind of fascinated by former porn stars who get embroiled in the criminal justice system. Remember, we also saw this in that case years ago, I think that Court TV covered, where the casino owner in Vegas was murdered by his former girlfriend. I can't remember the young lady's name. And it ended up with a conviction in the beginning, but I think on retrial, they came back with something less. But I think she was some type of a nude model at the time, dating that casino owner. And it was just salacious and delicious. And I think watchers and listeners and the true crime space just loves that aspect of it. But legally, if you really think about it, it doesn't really prove anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Philip Dubé, not holding back today on this busy Monday, but we are going to hit the pause button. You're going to be with us for the rest of the hour. More testimony out of the state of Nevada when we return in the Love Triangle Beheading case playing out there. What will we learn next in this police interview? We'll find out together.
Mama tried. Now my daddy's crying because I'm in here.
You are the common denominator that led to JD and Big Doug shooting each other in the dark of night.
All right, help buddy, I'm dying.
Don't you have the blood of both these men on your hands?
I feel guilty for that.
You felt guilty because, frankly, you were guilty.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. Before we head back to court for more testimony in the state of Nevada, let's get an update out of Iowa, where testimony resumes today in the case against Luke Truesdale.
Yeah, Truesdale is accused of killing 4 people at a rural property last year. Prosecutors here say that he ambushed the group inside of a garage workshop, attacking them with a 3-foot metal pipe and then leaving a bloody, chaotic scene behind.
Earlier this morning, jurors heard testimony from a lieutenant with the Lynn County Sheriff's Office who talked about finding that alleged murder weapon at the scene. Let's watch.
And as you enter into that building, as we've heard testimony, and you go through the main door, not the garage doors, what was located directly to the right?
The pipe.
The black metal pipe?
Yes.
The metal pipe that was collected by officers?
Yes.
The metal pipe that was told to you by Luke Truesdale?
Yes.
The same pipe that was used when he admitted to hitting all 4 of them?
Yes.
And when I say he, that was Luke Truesdale?
Yes.
Was that the only person that admitted to hitting all of them?
Yes.
And we'll continue to keep a close eye on that courtroom there in Iowa and bring you updates on air and online throughout the day.
For now, let's go back to Nevada, where we have been following the murder trial for Devyn Michaels.
She's accused of bludgeoning and decapitating her ex-boyfriend Jonathan Willett back in August of 2023.
Let's get you back inside of that courtroom and listen to more of the police interview. And we're about to hear this defendant talking about a marriage proposal, but not from the man that she was married to at the time. Let's watch.
There's in 2 gas stations. There's a Chevron right down the corner.
I think it's like a Charlotte First.
Okay, so it's Silver's there, and then across Candy Corner from that gas station is another gas station. I think it's a Shell or something.
I'm not sure about the one, but
It was next to the Burger King station. Okay.
yeah, please check the security. You can see him, and you can see him telling me the code and everything. I don't know why he was giving me things, but he was telling me to hold on to him and keep him safe. And that's what I was doing.
How's the Social Security card? What about his driver's license?
I've always had his driver's license. He's always.
How bad is that? The driver's license found in the house with the current one. It's not.
But he just gave it to me.
I know, but he would need that for work. That's
He has another one.
He said that he gave you an old one you had in the drawer.
Well, no, he's given me old ones before. I have multiple ones. So you can look around the house. There's more than one.
Okay. And if this one's expired in 2025, that's going to be his newest one.
Okay.
It's weird that you have his latest driver's license and that it was tucked in a drawer.
Yeah, I put it away to keep it safe. It should be wrapped in like a whole bunch of bags, right?
Okay. Did you understand that?
I understand, but I also have the Social Security. I understand, and that's why I'm like, it's just getting weirder and weirder. It's like I'm doing things that help, and it's not helping me. I got it.
Yeah, is that just being able to explain some of the stuff? That's all we need.
I'm trying to explain it, but the more I'm talking, the more it just sounds really stupid. And
especially a driver's license, that doesn't need to really be kept safe. No Social Security card or birth certificate, I completely understand. Especially if somebody is in transition in their life and they're wanting to find a new place to live and want to work.
But I don't know what else was in it. It was just a lot of things.
Okay. But it wasn't his wallet. He didn't hand his wallet over to you.
No, it was like a lot of things. Like it was like a square thing he handed to me, and then a black what are those called?
But not his wallet. You know what his wallet looks like. You saw him pull it off different reasons. So he had his.
So, Detective, you're now confronting the defendant with regard to the wallet and all that was found in the plastic bags.
Correct.
Those were sealed when they were found, correct?
They were.
So let's step back a moment to the phone because they kind of tie together. She is not telling you that the phone is part of this chunk of items that John allegedly gave her in this bag, correct?
Correct.
Okay. With regard to the victim's phone, did you ultimately learn that was in fact his blood and DNA, the victim's, on that phone?
Yes, I did.
Did you ultimately learn from other sources, not the defendant, but other sources, when John's phone was last at his home and when it left?
Yes. So one of my partners had authored a search warrant for Google. We had also done some call data records as well, but the Google itself came in quite a bit later. So this is something that we found out after the crime, obviously, and after all the interviews had been settled. But we noted that the return showed that John's phone was at the home on Paladura, which is where he resides, from 10 o'clock till it began to travel or move at about 2:04 a.m.
And what else traveled or moved at 2:04 a.m.?
So I'm not sure exactly what's been testified to yet, but at 2:04 is when it's alleged that Devyn left the home. She traveled. We have her cell phone or CDR records, as well as the Burla, which, again, I'm not sure if that's been testified to. That is the infotainment system that we authored a search warrant on. It shows those three devices together in a companion movement all the way back to Porcupine Rim.
So 3 devices, meaning the Nissan itself, the defendant's cell phone, and the victim's cell phone as well.
That's correct.
Based upon the fact that there is blood on the cell phone and all of that you just testified, what did you deduce about our timeline of homicide?
Well, after having the information from the autopsy, which is there was no bloodletting injuries short of his obvious cause of death, which was the decapitation, there was no reason there should have been blood on that cell phone because any bloodletting would have been after the homicide. So for the phone to arrive and be discovered at Porcupine Rim with blood on it indicated to me that that is something that was on the phone before it left that house.
At 2:04 a.m.
Correct.
And therefore, did you narrow down the bloodletting to between 10 p.m. on the 6th and 2:04 a.m. on the 7th?
Yes, sir.
We're going to resume the interview.
So when we find his wallet, it's going to have his driver's license and his cards.
When John and I were together, I had everything. He had me hold on to it so he wouldn't spend money needlessly and things like that. Like he's like, hold on to this. And we actually were.
So you're closer than
Yes. I would. He asked me to marry him yesterday.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
To know your relationship, you had mentioned was getting reconnected, but that's more romantic.
Right, and you can ask the girls, and he told the girls we were going to get back married, and they were going to be the flower girls and stuff like that. He was trying to get back together, and I was helping him break all of these little bad habits.
Approaching the top of the hour, our thanks to Philip Dubé.
Yeah, coming up, we have more of the defendant Devyn Michaels police interview. You heard her talking about this victim wanting to get back with her and told the little girls that they could be flower girls in their wedding. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae along with Matt Johnson. Thanks so much for following along with us. We're headed to Nevada this afternoon for the murder trial of a former porn star, Devyn Michaels.
She's accused of bludgeoning and decapitating her ex-boyfriend, Jonathan Willett, back in August of 2023, just before he was getting ready to move back in with her.
Prosecutors here say that Devyn Michaels was unhappy with how quickly this move was happening and was afraid that it would disrupt the life that she had with her new husband, Devyn Willett, who also happens to be the victim's son from a previous relationship.
But the defense is pointing the finger at Devyn Willett, saying that he killed his father because he was worried that his wife would get back together with his dad.
And we're listening to some of that police were able to glean. This is a police interview of the defendant back when this happened. And she's talking about how Jonathan Willett wanted to move in and was really pushing for them to get back together. The audio is a little bit difficult to hear, but we're picking it up where we left off.
2 EBT cards.
Do you have both girls' EBT cards now?
No, they're not the girls' EBTs. He said one was Andrea's, and the code,
I was using Android.
he gave me hers. I haven't used it. He gave me hers at the gas station. And then he has the other one that he got.
Okay. Where's that EBT card now?
They're both in my purse.
Okay. You know you can't have that, right?
Yes, but I know he gave them to me.
That doesn't make it right.
No, but I can't use them, but I understand, but you can see he handed it to me.
Okay. You're not understanding that you can't do that. So
No, I know I can't use them. I don't believe he can use it because it's not. It's Andreas and not his.
Right. Is Andrea mad that you have the EBT card? Did you get it? Because she's got to know that's her money.
No, he said that she gave it to him because she can't use it in the state that she's in.
So he was just using it to fill his away for money.
That's what he said. He said, but at any moment she can cancel it.
Yeah, but she wasn't. So if he wants to marry you, he's telling the girls to be flower girls, yet you're still wearing a ring, and so is Dev.
This ring I bought on my own from Macy's. It has nothing. No, this wasn't a symbol
You just
for
told me that it was a symbol.
I said
you have a best friend connection with Dev.
We do have a
You wear the wedding ring too, and that's something that Dev is a respectful thing, part of the marriage. But now you're telling me that you and your ex were talking about getting married.
No.
You just took a ring off last night from another female and threw it away. But yet,
You're taking what I'm saying, but you're not.
it's back to what you said.
No, I understand that's what I said, but that's not exactly the situation. You're taking it and
Okay, so
let me.
here's what you told us so far. Your ex needs a place to stay because he's trying to get out of his mother's house.
Yes,
You were kind enough to allow him to move into the house with you, your current husband, which is your best friend, and your 2 girls, which the girls just moved back in May.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you guys are trying to make it a family. You were saying that he was supposed to slowly move in, that things were progressing slowly. Now you're telling me that he's wanting to marry you. He mentioned that yesterday. He even talked to the kids about it. And that your relationship has now progressed past just slowly
No, ma'am, you're misunderstanding. He has mentioned getting married in front of the girls. Our relationship is not rekindling on a physical level or romantic level, but we are trying to reconnect and have a family for the girls. Yes, he has said we should get married, and he's saying it more, for my opinion, on a joking thing, but he has said that in front of the girls. That was not said yesterday. Okay?
When was that said? In front of the girls?
I would say over a month ago.
Okay.
Like,
What did you say in return in front of the girls?
I didn't say anything. I just looked at him and rolled my eyes.
So are the girls, when I talk to them, going to say that they don't think you guys are getting married?
Oh, yeah, they'll tell you that.
That you guys are not getting back together?
No. Because at one point I was telling him I didn't think it would be a good idea for him to be here, and it would be too hectic. So they will definitely tell you I was not trying to marry him.
Did you say anything to Deb about it?
Oh yeah, I've told him that John keeps trying to say he wants to, get back together.
I thought you were telling him no.
Yes, no.
Okay. And then him moving in now was just a platonic, friendly relationship.
It's not a... Yes. Basically. I was going to clear out the sewing room that's up there. He said he wanted the loft because it was the cooler place, but I was going to give him the sewing room because there is more than enough room.
And then Deb sleeps on the sofa.
Sometimes, or he does sleep on the bed. Like I said, when we watch movies and he knocks out within minutes.
And then have you guys ever had a sexual relationship?
Yeah, we had.
Okay. But it's not there now?
No, I can't even have sex now.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to have sex.
I understand, but no.
Okay, so you guys have no connection that way at all?
No.
Okay. Because that would complicate it a lot. Have you guys come in and decide you're still in a medical records and everything like that. I have to take hormones just to. I understand. But like I said, there's a lot of different ways to have sex. It doesn't have to be penetration. There's a lot of things that a couple can do. And obviously you did that at the beginning, but it's not now. So much changed. Hey. Not to be crass with you, but I think I need to be direct with you. And you can give a male a hand job. And that gives you a connection with that person in a sexual way. I think it's a relationship. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? Yes. There's a lot of different things that you can do for a male that you're connected with in that marriage. If you ever see the thing that we're not like that. Trying to answer, get all the questions. I'm not questions. I mean, I'm cool with we got married for this. The rings, that to me is a lot. That's probably the most odd thing about it for me. Is that the ring? It's just I like my ring. But he's wearing a ring, so he's wearing a wedding ring. He wears a lot of rings though. He's wearing a wedding ring. But he does wear more than one ring though. So. And he's bought them for himself. Sure. I bought mine. I mean, but I didn't buy them for them to be symbolic. He's bought his own rings to wear. And where did you guys get married? Where did you guys get married? What was that? The flamingo thing. So you guys had a ceremony on the Yeah, it was free. I got a coupon thing, and that was cheaper. And you just did it out in chapel and the flamingo. Yeah, and there was the one witness, and that was it.
So you said that you guys have not, like, you and Devyn had evidence for a while. How long have we talking? Like
years since he's been back.
What do you mean since he's been back?
He moved out of the state.
Devyn says he's been living here for like the last 4 years.
Yeah, but he moved out of the state. He lived in California, and then he moved back, lived with John, and then he came back this way.
Okay, so since he's been back, you guys have not?
No, sir. I stopped being physical probably in 2020, and I was having all my issues because I had surgery and just surgery.
Okay, but he was already living here.
He wasn't living with me.
Because he was telling me that he's lived here for like the last 4 years.
Yeah, but he wasn't living with me the whole time. He was living with John at Pellegrin.
When I say living here, I mean like he actually said like he's lived here at this house. How long have you lived at this house?
I've been here for 3 years.
And then when did he come back, I guess, to Nevada? I guess that was what we're saying.
I would say I've been here for 3 years, so at least 2 years ago.
And then prior to living here for 3 years, where were you staying for that?
Decatur and Forest.
And then how long were you at that place?
Less than 1 year.
And then prior to that place?
It was at Wild Magic.
Where's that at?
89129.
Like what area though? Like major groceries?
Craig and Tanea. Right, we were close to where JC lives.
And then did your kids live with you at that time?
Yeah, they've always lived with me. They've only not lived with me for the short period of time of 9 months.
And going back to the ID and stuff, you said that was, yeah, you had one that was in a bunch of bags in your drawer. When did he give you that?
Yesterday. With the IDs and the social security card.
And was that at the house that you had?
Yes, sir.
So he handed you a bag yesterday. Do you remember what was in it?
No, he just handed it to me and I put it in the bags. Because I just wanted them out the way.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly what's in it. I didn't go through it.
So explain that part to me as far as like when he did that And what did you do? So like, where were you guys at when he handed you like that stack of stuff?
In his room area, and he handed me the little square thing. He says, hold on to this, and he handed me the other thing because this is my social. He says, just keep it safe. And that's all I was going to do. So I wrapped it up, and I was going to put the social in the security box, and I just didn't have a chance to do it.
What else? Did he give you anything else?
He gave me his guns.
Anything else? Like there's a set of keys in that bag too.
The keys are from the Andrea stuff.
The set of keys that are in that bag. Like the bag.
No, the keys are my keys.
Where do those go to?
My car.
So yeah.
Detective, we're going to pause real briefly. Throughout the course of the investigation, did you learn that no spare set of Chevy keys for John's truck were ever discovered?
Yes.
In fact, after the defendant was arrested for the homicide, was there some communication with Yoko about returning the keys?
Yes.
And why was that?
There were no set of keys for John's truck found in the home or anywhere else after searching all the residences other than the keys that were in the bag.
And so you had to return those keys to her so she could do whatever she was going to do financially with the truck.
Correct.
And you put plastic bag that you wrapped his ID in that he gave you, and instead of your keys in there?
I'm so lost.
I just wanted, like, when he handed you a bunch of stuff, he only gave you the wallet or the ID in it? Did he hand you anything else?
Jury hearing about some of the relationships there, or what she wants them to think.
Circumstantial evidence where she had items she wasn't supposed to have.
Yeah, the Social Security card, the phone, things of that nature. Coming up, more testimony out of the state of Nevada in the Love Triangle murder case playing out there. This is Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, NFL legend Antonio Brown facing an attempted murder charge. We're kicking off this week with a deep dive into the ex-NFL star's many legal troubles.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
Sunday nights on Court TV. Join us for a night of food, friends, and our favorite legal dramas. It's Order in the Court. And this week, we're binge watching Bull. Sundays on Court TV.
Let's go back to Las Vegas. We are watching together testimony in a case against Devyn Michaels, the Love Triangle Beheading Trial.
Devyn Michaels is accused of killing and then beheading her ex-boyfriend, Jonathan Willett, in his parents' home back in August of 2023.
And the state of Nevada here says that the victim was getting ready to move back in with the defendant and her new husband, who also happened to be the victim's son from a previous relationship, older than the other children. Now, Michaels is accused of killing Willett in order to prevent this move.
Let's get you back into court now with more testimony from a police interview that the jury is hearing there in the state of Nevada. Let's watch.
The Social Security card.
Okay, because in that bag that it was wrapped in, that you said you wrapped it in, there was also a set of vehicle keys in there.
I don't remember giving the keys.
So I guess that's my question. Like, why would he give you his wallets, Social Security card, which is like the detective asking also, and then also a set of keys.
I don't remember the keys. I just know the wallet and the Social Security card.
And then you put that in a plastic bag while you were at that house?
I just grabbed everything and tied it and tied it and tied it and tied it.
So the only thing he handed you, like, so I'm giving you this stuff. What exactly does he hand you?
I remember seeing a wallet, and I went like this. He dropped it in, and I just started tightening it away.
So it's just a wallet, though?
That's all I remember seeing. I do not remember seeing keys, but he dropped it in the bag. Like, I just took it and tied it away.
And was this in the garage?
No, sir, it was in his room.
Inside the room in the house?
Yes, sir.
And was that before you guys went into the garage?
That was before we left. And then he also said, make sure the guns are safe. And we didn't take the ammo. So I carried out.
Detective, was this timeline that the defendant gave you notable?
It was.
And why is that?
Specifically, the keys being in the bag and the wallet. When they leave the Paladura residence, she'll indicate that they were in his truck and then drove back to his house, or back to her house on Porcupine Rim. However, the keys have been tied up in that bag because she indicates in her statement, I tied them, and that's exactly how we found them in the drawer.
And so we know based on not only the defendant's statements, but witnesses and technological evidence that it wasn't the Nissan Berla that they made the last trip to Porcupine Rim in and then returned to Paladura. It was the victim's truck.
That's correct.
And so she's saying the keys or whatever he put into the plastic bag that she tied up over and over and over were given before that last trip to Porcupine Rim.
Yes.
One of the guns that he carried out was a bow and like a crossbow looking thing, and another gun.
Okay, so that was before you left there, between 9 and 10?
No, that was like at 8 and 9.
8 and 9.
And we came this way.
And then what did you do with that, all the stuff?
When I got here, I put it in the drawer, like just to keep it out of the way.
And then you guys drove back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did he have keys to his truck?
Yes, sir, we drove his truck.
Do you remember where he put his keys to the truck? So we didn't find his keys to the truck at his house.
They were on the table.
Which table?
The table that had like all this looking stuff and like the grinder and everything like that. All of that was sitting right there.
And his keys to the truck?
Yeah. The only keys I picked up were the ones that had the little thing on it that said Andrea, because Joko said bring them to her and put them in the little thing. That's the only thing I picked up.
Okay. So you don't know what keys are actually in that bag that you wrapped everything in?
No, sir. Like I said, he said keep it safe. I took the plastic bag and he dropped it in and then started tying it up. And then he handed me the other thing. And I was just going to put that into a safe.
Okay. So, like what we were saying is a lot of the stuff now is like how you're saying you're talking it out loud and it just doesn't sound well.
I understand that, but you didn't know John. You didn't understand his mannerisms.
I know, but when we talked to you earlier, like these are the things when we were saying, like, hey, be descriptive as possible. Like, what were you guys doing? Like, you know, say you're packing, doing this, but like specifics, like stuff that's important. All that would have been really important for us to know.
I do apologize, but that's not things that were like kind of going through my head at the time. To remember is like, when you say this, it's like, okay, I remember this now. And you say something else, then I can recall more information. I'm trying to remember as much as I possibly can for you.
Okay, because like how you said it, how it doesn't look well, I agree with you now because you have his social security card, you have his wallet and his ID. There's possibly a set of keys that looks like might be his truck keys in that bag.
Okay.
So.
But I'm sure he's got I got more than one key for my car.
Not with keychains on it. Spare keys that don't have keychains on it.
Like it's not just like a key with a key fob. It's like it looks like his personal set of keys.
Like I said, he put it in the bag. I just tied it up. That's all I did. And I think there's like 3 bags around it, 3 or 4 bags. I'm not even sure.
But then if you have a safe, why would you not just put them in a safe?
I haven't had a chance to.
The plastic bags are very tricky.
For the keys?
And watching along with you at home, let's bring in our guest for this hour to discuss. From Irvine, California, Orange County, we have trial attorney Lauren Johnson-Norris. Thanks for being with us. What sticks out to you so far of this important police interview that the jury there in the state of Nevada is listening to?
I'm hearing a very pressured, sort of difficult interview where the defendant is providing information and then the detective is pushing back on it, and then she is reframing or changing the account step by step. I will say this is a pretty typical type of interview with the defendant who might be adjusting their story as they go along, but it certainly is not her providing a very seamless, reliable sounding account of the events that occurred that day.
Lauren, what's usually your take when you have a police interview like this one? So it's the defendant back at the time, close in time to the incident, sharing her side. Would that be a situation where you don't have to take the stand, or do you sometimes need to take the stand to clarify if anything was said differently in that interview?
Well, anything that she said during the interview or that a defendant says trying to explain or defend away the circumstances is admissible. That's why we are hearing it and why a jury is hearing it. But police interviews with defendants don't usually go well. That's why lawyers often advise their clients not to make statements during investigations. Here, she's made those statements, and really she could get on the stand and try to explain why this interview is so difficult and not seamless and not very clear. She may have to do that because the interview on its own does not sound great.
All right, Lauren, you're going to be sticking with us all hour long. Thank you for that analysis. Coming up, we do have to take a break. More in the Love Triangle Beheading Trial out of the state of Nevada. Plus this, testimony continues for a man accused of brutally killing 4 people. Court TV's Kelly Craft joins us live in studio with an update in the Metal Pipe Massacre trial. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Matt Johnson in for Ted Rollins alongside Julia Janae. Now, before we get you back into court in Nevada, an update out of Iowa where testimony continues today in the case against Luke Truesdale.
Now, Truesdale is accused of killing 4 people at a rural property last year. The prosecution says that he ambushed a group inside of a garage workshop, attacking them with a 3-foot metal pipe and leaving a bloody scene.
All right, let's do this. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft with the very latest. Kelly, you're all over the case today watching the testimony. What sticks out?
A lot, Matt. Good afternoon to you and Julia. So this case, the details of it are so gruesome. Today, what's taking place? They're on a lunch break right now. This case is out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. That's where the court case is being held, this quadruple murder case. And so far today, we have heard from a lieutenant who made the arrest of the defendant in this case. He returned to the witness stand today, and he has been describing many things, including the moments leading up to the death of the 4 people you're taking a look at right now. These are the 4 victims in this case who were brutally murdered inside a detached garage. Let's go ahead and listen to a bit of the testimony from the lieutenant from just a short time ago.
And as you enter into that building, as we've heard testimony, and you go through the main door, not the garage doors, what was located directly to the right?
The pipe.
The black metal pipe?
Yes.
The metal pipe that was collected by officers?
Yes.
The metal pipe that was told to you by Luke Truesdale?
Yes.
The same pipe that was used when he admitted to hitting all 4 of them?
Yes.
And when I say he, that was Luke Truesdale?
Yes.
Was that the only person that admitted to hitting all of them?
Yes.
So you were taking a look at some images as well. The jurors got a chance to view some of the surveillance footage the moments before this brutal murder. And also they have taken a look so far. So they've seen the surveillance video, and also they have seen that pipe that police say is the murder weapon in this case. Julianne, Matt?
Kelly, so many brutal details here. And when you have an incident like this, of course, we learn so much about the prosecution's case as we're getting closer. But what are we learning now about the defense's strategy in all of this? What's their approach?
So the approach by defense counsel is that somebody else did this. In fact, it was not their client at all. And they're pointing to the client's dad. And so they're going after a lot of the witnesses, talking about a botched investigation by law enforcement, asking if they checked this, if they checked that. Why, for instance, his father was able to roam free after the murders and he wasn't questioned more. Let's go ahead and take a listen to some testimony. This is talking about the defendant in this case, and it's been no secret throughout this trial that the defendant was high on drugs.
Okay, so that right there is Luke confirming that he had, in fact, smoked something earlier.
Yes.
So at this point, not only did we have it's called an educated belief, but now we have a statement, I smoked earlier, so we know he's high.
An admission, yes.
Okay. Now, based on your training and experience, could you venture a guess which substance he had been smoking?
Based on my experience, I believed it was meth.
So you heard that information there. He's smoking meth. We're going to continue to follow this. They are on that lunch break right now in Cedar Rapids, as I mentioned. They're coming back at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to continue to cover this story.
Correspondent Kelly Craft, thank you for that update and keeping us up to date on what's happening there. We've got a lot of cases we're monitoring here at Court TV. For now, let's head back to Nevada for the Love Triangle Beheaded Trial for Devyn Michaels. We're still listening to Defendant Michaels' police interview. So the detective is on the stand and the prosecution is starting and stopping this interview for the jury to hear. Let's pick it up where we left off.
It was just what we had right at the time. I hadn't been here to put it in the safe. The safe is here. But I just had it placed in a drawer. It takes 2 seconds to put something in the safe. I've done it, and I wasn't trying to have Debbie here to see it. That's all it was.
Why do you say that?
Because it would look odd that I'm holding onto John's things for John. But it's not the same. It's like if you're doing more for one person, I don't want him to feel like there's more there than what it was. John was only coming in as a temporary thing until he can get something else because, like I said, he's trying to file for bankruptcy. Yoga was about to kick him out. Yoga even said she was trying to kick him out.
Okay. So how many times on bankruptcy before? I
did mention bankruptcy before.
I don't remember that.
Did I tell you or the? Yeah, I mentioned it. I most definitely did. Understand inside the house when you guys were here. He told his mom he was going to file for bankruptcy.
Yeah, gambling. How long does he have an issue with gambling? Where does he usually play?
Well, when we lived together, he would go to the Santa Fe.
That's like his favorite song together?
That's when we lived together. I don't know what his spot would be now.
You don't know where he would go living with he would go?
Probably the Green Valley is the closest one. He said he was. He claimed he was going to try to do 1,100. He claimed he was going to be able to do that.
Is that a text message or a conversations you guys had on the phone?
I don't know. You might be able to find a text message on it. It was definitely where he understood it was not going to be him freeloading or anything like that. He had to pay to stay here.
And when we go to the phone, we're going to have our computer guys. They can go through apps, they can go through anything deleted, all that stuff. Are they gonna find anything that we're gonna have to go back and talk to you about? That your current husband doesn't know about, relationship-wise, conversations, intimate conversations, pictures? No. Okay. No, ma'am. So it's just platonic conversations. For the girls, certainly when they're on back. They wanted him because they love their dad. We know it's wrong. And I was told when I went, John has physical custody of the girls. They're supposed to live with him. So is that why? So as long as I keep him close to me, that is definitely. If I keep him close and make him happy and everything like that, I got to see my girls. I can understand that. So it's just so my girls love him. They want to spend time with their dad. I need to be around my girls. Hopefully he pays the rent. Does that pay for the rent too? Or the mortgage? He pays like $1,100 every month too. Okay. And then are you working? Yes, no. I do real estate. Okay. Clearly you've been sick though. Yes, ma'am. And for almost a full year I wasn't making any money. So I went through my savings. I had to take my stocks out just recently to get things caught up. Yeah, I've been struggling trying to get all of this back on track. This was gonna help a lot. Yes, ma'am. So that's the motivation too, is keep the girls close, and then if you keep them close and happy, you'll be able to have contact with the girls, and he's gonna pay together half the mortgage. I figured as long as I didn't rock the boat too much, he wasn't gonna get out of control, because I know what triggers him, and I wasn't gonna do that. I know even when he's yelling and everything, as long as I'm not trying to engage with it, he does calm down fairly quickly. And you can see it on the text messages.
Okay, so like going back to what Stan was saying, why are you, I know that you want to see your kids, but also you have custody of the kids. He has physical custody, but they've been staying with you. They're not staying with you.
Because he's letting them stay with me.
Exactly. So why would you want to bring him here?
Because if you look at the text messages, when he gets mad, it's bring me the girls back. I want the girls back.
So he's threatening you about that stuff. So he's threatening you about the kids. Okay, so
again, if I keep them happy and keep everything cool, the girls can stay with me, and they were supposed to be with me for the summer, but you'll see, oh, I miss the girls, I haven't seen the girls, so it's okay. I would drive to Anderson multiple times just so he could see the girls, and then we would drive back.
do you have any other phones?
No, sir. We have a house phone, a landline.
Yeah. Her said it was inside the house.
That phone is not connected.
What phone is that?
There's like extra phones, like my old phones. None of them are connected. The girls just use them to play video games.
That one was in your purse. Are you saying one, and then that one's in your purse?
Yeah, there's one in my purse. Tamia was playing music on one of them earlier today. They're just old phones.
So, right now, like you're saying, things just aren't adding up. Okay, I'm not saying that you actually did something to Jonathan, but I know, or I feel like right now, you're not telling us everything. I feel like you know something, and that, like.
All right, this police interview rolls on. We've got to get to a break, but we're going to get you back in right where we're leaving off. Thanks for being with us. You're watching Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Mama tried. Now my daddy's crying because I'm in here.
You are the common denominator that led to JD and Big Doug shooting each other in the dark of night.
All right, help right now, I'm dying.
Don't you have the blood of both these men on your hands?
I felt guilty for that.
You felt guilty because, frankly, you were guilty.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Court TV.
Back now to Nevada, where a former adult film star is on trial for murder after prosecutors say she bludgeoned and decapitated her own ex-boyfriend.
Devyn Michaels is accused of killing Jonathan Willett, the father of her 2 kids, also her ex-boyfriend. Prosecutors say that the murder happened as the victim was planning to move back into her house, a home that she shared with his son, who she was married to.
Yeah, and that son is the one that the defense is pointing the finger at as an alternate suspect. So let's go back into the courtroom now. We're listening along with the jury to the defendant's police interview, so you can hear her voice and you hear the detective. That detective is also on the stand.
How it happened or who something involved with this, they did not give us that information. So, we've done this for a while. Okay, we've been detectives for a while. Okay, and just given everything that she told us, and just kind of how everything happens, kind of sporadic. All right, I really don't want to beat around the bush at this point now, because before I was giving you the benefit of the doubt with everything. Okay, but like I said, things just aren't adding up.
So I have decided that if I just be nice to him, I can get my girls, because the court, when we went for custody, he didn't even show up. And the judge had us wait an extra hour to see if he was going to show up, just to give him the benefit of the doubt. And they still granted him physical custody. They denied his motion for sole custody, but they still granted him the physical custody of the girls. I have tried to do everything through the system. So right now, all I'm trying to do is make sure I just be nice and get my girls, because that, at the end of the day, was my goal. Just how my girls
Can I ask you a question about your custody? Just my prior experience is in special victim unit, so I'm very familiar with family courts, very familiar with CPS cases and how powerful they are, one way or another. It's very, very unusual for a father to get primary physical custody. So
she told me that day, and you can talk to the kid, that my girls were going to be home that day. I told her I'll do the custody class, not custody classes, the counseling, which I'm still doing, and you can talk to her. I did the parenting classes.
So they took the kids away?
Yes, ma'am. But they said that you have to do this, you have to do, and I did everything.
It's temporary.
And they didn't. They still granted him, yes, ma'am. You can look it all up. Even my therapist, everybody that has been involved in this case say it didn't make any sense. I had.
Where are all your firearms in the house?
There's one in the drawer and there's one upstairs.
Where's the one upstairs?
It's in the safe. In the bathroom. Okay. In the girls.
What's that?
The safe.
Okay, and then is that a 9mm or 40? Do you know?
9.
Okay, and then the one downstairs, where's that?
In the drawer is a 9.
Okay. And then are those your firearms?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have you fired those recently?
No, ma'am.
Not since?
No, we go to the gun range just for fun. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad about that.
Yes, ma'am. It is, and my
judge.
The lady, I don't know what happened. It's like, I don't know now. I don't know how all this works. Like, you can't all of a sudden get slammed with all this stuff. So, it looks weird, but I am just playing nice to keep my girls. So, I'm just trying to not create waves. So John says, I need you to do something, I do it. As simple as that. I'm not trying to look stupid in front of you guys, but...
Does he hold that over your head?
Yes.
Like, does he threaten you?
Yes.
With the kids?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of stuff does he say?
Is if I'm not, hey, I need you to do this, if I'm not, it's never been like a sexual thing. I mean, he's hinted at it, but it's always if you're not anything. I need this help. I need this help. I used to give him gas money every time I went down there. I used to have to buy his beers and his cigarettes because the EBT doesn't cover it. And the girls will even tell you I was always buying him something. You can look at the gas station records. Every time we went in, he would, hey, I need this, this, and this, and I would be the one paying for it. I just don't want to offer those.
Is that how we got you to agree for him to come here?
Yes. And it's just keep my girls close.
What did he tell you?
That it's not what he told me. It's just I know.
What did he say? Like when he said,
we should be a family. We should be a family again. The girls would want us together.
And did he threaten you saying, you know, let him move in?
It wasn't a threat. It was more of a, well, if you don't want to do this, then I'll stay with Andrea. We'll have her, because he told me straight he already moved on with his life and everything like that. And him and Andrea.
Hitting the pause button so that we can bring back our guest for this hour. Trial attorney Lauren Johnson Norris from Irvine, California, joining us. All right, so to me, my ears perked up because this actually sounds, if you believe the state of Nevada, more likely as a motive to kill, custody issue versus the love triangle that she was playing down.
What you're hearing from Michaels is she's describing having had a Child Protective Services case. We don't know why, what the reason was that the children were removed from her custody, but she was asked to do a bunch of things like therapy and other things to potentially reunify with her child. And that resulted in the children being with their father. What she's describing is how through the remaining relationship, giving him money for beer or cigarettes, he was able to sort of hang that over her head to give her access to the children, and that she went to the family law court and he in some way delayed the process, making it difficult for her to be able to see her kids. So it's interesting, she's describing something that might give her a motive to want to see this sort of control and difficult relationship come to an end so she could have access to her children.
Yeah, there are a lot of ramifications for just that bit coming in. And Lauren, often things that may not be great about the past of a defendant doesn't come in. But here, what do you think some of the reasons are that this jury is hearing that she lost custody of her kids, which that could prejudice them in some ways?
Well, she is making statements that are not necessarily confessions, but what we call admissions in the law. Things that may tend to prove toward guilt or could be part of the prosecution's theories of guilt. And because she's made those statements, those are admissible. And that has opened the door to more information about the past.
All right, Lauren, thank you so much for your analysis and for being with us this hour. We'll let you go for now, but thank you for lending us your expertise. Coming up, we have more of this defendant's police interview. The Love Triangle Beheading Trial. How will her interview end?
Hey everyone, it's me, Devyn Michaels. Come say hi. Anything unique about the body?
I think initially, honestly, that it was decapitated.
For you to be able to look me in the eye knowing that the things are altered and...
You pled guilty, man. If he had known you were having a sexual relationship with his mother of his children,
I'm not going to stop fighting to prove my innocence.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae. Thank you for following along with us this afternoon. We're headed back to that courtroom in Nevada where testimony is underway in the Love Triangle Beheading Trial for the woman you just heard from, Devyn Michaels. We've seen many faces of Devyn. She's now accused of bludgeoning and decapitating her ex-boyfriend, who is also the father of her children, Jonathan Willett. The defense that's representing her, they are pointing the finger, though, at her ex-husband, who also happened to be the victim's son from a previous relationship. They say he was the real killer because he didn't want his own father to get back with his wife and feared a reconciliation between the two. Let's go back into court now. We're listening to a police interrogation video by a detective who was on the stand. So we're listening to Devyn Michaels trying to explain herself to police when they're asking about why she had had some of the victim's items in her possession and what was going on in their tumultuous relationship.
And I wasn't going to be in the picture anymore. I can't be without my girls.
Did he say he was going to take the girls to wherever it was, correct?
No, they weren't moving anywhere. But it was just, I wasn't going to really have my time with them like I do now. So I know I seem very easy to push over, but it's not. It's just,
Well, it's a cycle. Obviously, he's been using your kids against you and getting his way for something, you know.
On one of the things, I want to say it was like the 4th of July, Nene put something in the microwave and it like kind of started sparking like a metal thing, and he started screaming, fire, 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 fire. So I'm trying to get the girls out, and he's yelling at them to stay down, and he's cussing at them, he's cussing at his mom, cussing at me. So I'm just trying to get the kids out of the house thinking there's a fire, and he immediately, back there, back, spray them back, we're not doing this. So,
was that here or
in Henderson, and ask Uncle, she'll tell you. That's how he is.
So, I mean, when I tell you that, I told you earlier that, I think that you're not telling us everything, that there's something that you know that you're leaving out. And then you go into this big explanation about, this is what's happening, this is what's going on. I love my girls, he uses that against me, and you can't go into that brief explanation. So, you never really got into the other part to it. Okay, so you just can't get an explanation, which I understand completely. Now, like you're painting a different picture about what's been going on. Like, all this stuff you're telling us now is not anywhere near what you were explaining to us earlier. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not trying to speak ill of anyone, and I'm not trying to make myself sound.
It's not speaking ill, it's just trying to explain the situation and where you're at with him in your explanation. And now it's a little bit more clear that he obviously uses your kids against you. You love your kids. We all love our kids. And I agree with you as far as like I would do anything like that, right? As you said.
So it's not that I'm trying to bring him in because I'm in love with him or anything like that.
No, you're trying to make, but here's where what I'm saying is, I don't think him coming here isn't something that you really agreed to. It was something that he kind of forced it upon you.
He made it clear that it would be better for the girls, just like the puppies. We need to bring the puppies. The girls love the puppies.
Right. So that to me, when we're looking at everything here, would say, hey, well, he needs to get out of the picture, right? So that's why I'm asking. I don't think you did anything to him yourself, okay? But I do believe that you know what happened to him.
Detective, during the course of interviews, when you're speaking with a potential suspect or person of interest or however you want to say it, are there times in which you will change the tone and kind of minimize someone's involvement?
Absolutely.
So just so everyone understands, when you or Ozawa are saying, I don't believe you did it, that's part of your interviewing technique, correct?
Correct.
You're not saying that's what you actually believe.
No, it's a way of keeping the dialogue going, of showing some sort of like sympathizing, comments. If you're giving that to them, they're feeling like they're heard and they're believed, and they will continue to speak with us.
Okay.
Who did something? So that's where, hold on. So this is the time right now that would be a good time for you to kind of explain what you know about what happened. Because as we go on further, and when we leave here, and you say, I have no idea, there's no clue, I don't know anything about what happened, and then we find out later, that obviously looks worse on you, correct?
I understand.
Okay. So, like I was saying before, now is the time that it would be coming upon you to say, hey, okay, this is what I know. Okay, like I said, I don't believe you actually did anything to him, but I do believe that you know what happened to him. Okay?
John was like this with everybody, so I don't know if he got into anything with anyone else, but for me, this is how he was. or Yoakum, this is how he was. I'm pretty sure he was like that with Andrea. I don't know if he could be with any other person where he's like doing this. You would have to look at his phone. But you can look on the messages. It was always a back and forth like this almost every single day. I would get a message and it would be a very aggressive, I hate this, you're not doing this. And by the time the date was halfway through, it would be I'm sorry and everything like that. This was almost daily.
Like I said, I get that. Like I understand what you're explaining as far as how he is. Okay.
Let's go on what you're saying. It's not interesting.
1178.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
But like I said, I understand how you're explaining him and how he is. Okay. But like I said, I still feel like you know more than what you're telling us.
So just to wrap up a little bit, obviously we grabbed the phone that was on the driveway. The process that. Thank you for the iPad. That's his work iPad.
The girls found that. They said that's what, so I didn't know anything about that.
Okay, we got that one. Is there any reason why John's blood or anything DNA related will be in your vehicle? Because that got to the back to our station and our CSA, they're going to thoroughly look for everything in that vehicle.
I couldn't tell you. If he was bleeding from when he was doing the thing, he helped load up the truck. So if he was bleeding, it might have been
or your
my Armada.
Okay.
Like, he was putting the things in the car, like anything that would be
There's
heavy.
going to be obvious areas where blood doesn't belong even if you're loading. So I'm just asking you directly because if we do find any DNA evidence in that vehicle, obviously we want to make sure we asked you if there would be a reason.
No, the only thing I knew he said was his hand that he hit on the table. That's the only time he ever said he was bleeding, and he said it got a pretty good gash.
But you didn't see that?
No, I did not, so I can't really speak on it. But he was still voting everything up, so I don't think it was really bothering him that much.
And then just to confirm, you don't know how his phone got there on the driveway?
No, I know he was smoking, and when I went back over there and I said, girls, where did you find this? They pointed to it. There is cigarette butts there. So I don't know if he was just smoking and put it down and just didn't pick it back up, but you can take those, and I'm sure it'll be his.
When you guys unloaded everything, how long did that take?
30 minutes, he was bragging. He was saying that, yeah, I can always do this as quick as can be, but he tries to stretch things out because he charges by the hour. I remember having that conversation.
And when you guys left Paladura to come back here, or when you left that night, or this morning, which way did you go? Like as far as like when you left Paladura, like at...
I headed up towards the Durango area to get the medication.
When you left that neighborhood, did you go straight out to Pecos or Winno? Or did you go to Pecos?
No, Winno.
You went out the one exit to get out to Winno right there, right by the school?
Yeah.
And then normally do you guys come this way when you're coming to your house?
It just depends, like if the 15 is coming back up, I will take like the 215 and go around, or the Decatur. It really just depends on the time of day when we go in different directions.
Okay. 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 Alright, well, we appreciate it. Hopefully, that you're telling us everything is the truth. So, I will give you a call, or like I said, we'll have your phone. We're gonna get that downloaded, search on that too.
Okay.
And then I'll call Devyn tomorrow. I'll call Devyn tomorrow, and then try to figure out the time. But he has to work till tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Sorry, this is already
I know, sorry. Do you have a phone number to reach you for returning the phone?
Oh, you got my phone?
Yeah, so you said you have a landline, is that something?
I do not know it. It's...
Should we call Dev's phone then? the phone journey.
Well, you just told me to pick it up around 11.
Well, no, you just have the address, so I don't even have the address anymore.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because you wrote it on the paper and then handed it back to you.
Let me give that to you, and then if you want to, just come by tomorrow. Pick it up, yeah. You have that card, right?
Yes, sir.
So the address is on the card. 223 West Street. That's where you need to go.
No, the card is in my car.
And then I'll get that back to you. So maybe I'd say 1 o'clock tomorrow. Come by the station 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay.
Hopefully everything will be done.
Okay.
So if you can figure out how to get right down there, I can try to get everything done for you. Okay. And if it's not, at least I hope I can just get you the phone back.
Okay.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Like I said,
And then
if there is, I don't think there's a lot of blood. I don't think he was bleeding a lot. I didn't see it, but I do know he did mention it.
so it is 9:25. Let's get into it.
And Detective, it sounded toward the very end there like the plan was to release Miss Michaels and go about your investigation.
Correct.
And fair to say that there was a pretty substantial amount of digital and forensic investigation that occurred after that interview we
Yes,
just heard.
absolutely.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Okay, and before we do crossing the witness, we're going to take a brief recess. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief recess. During this recess, you must not discuss or communicate with anyone, including county.
Okay, while they take that break inside of the courtroom, let's take a break of our own. They just wrapped up that police interview where it was interesting to hear the defendant, her voice full of some emotion, especially when she talked about her kids, but also very calm and hoping, no doubt, that things would go where she could get away from police and go back to her life. Let's get to our break. When we come back, we'll have more testimony there in the Love Triangle Beheading Trial, plus updates on the other cases we are covering. Stay with us.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, NFL legend Antonio Brown facing an attempted murder charge. We're kicking off this week with a deep dive into the ex-NFL star's many legal troubles.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
All right, no party, I'm done.
Don't you have the blood on your hands?
I feel guilty for that.
You felt guilty because, frankly, you were guilty.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Court TV.
We're tracking several major trials here today at Court TV in Colorado. Testimony is resuming for defendant Darren Thrailkill. He's the man accused of killing his girlfriend's 6-year-old autistic son. We'll bring you highlights from that trial later today. Testimony also continues in Iowa for Luke Truesdale, charged with brutally beating 4 people to death last summer, all because he allegedly wanted to, quote, make a movie. Court TV's own Kelly Craft will keep us updated with what happened there. And in California, a pretrial conference happened today for Michael Bohm. He's accused of speeding down a Pacific Coast highway and killing 4 Pepperdine University college students. We'll keep you updated on the outcome of that hearing. Right now, we're in Nevada, bringing you testimony in the murder trial against former adult film star Devyn Michaels. She's accused of killing her ex-boyfriend after marrying his son. Before we get back into court there for the cross-examination of the detective, let's bring in our analyst, trial attorney Wendy Patrick is with us. Wendy, excited to hear your take on this case. You've got Devyn Michaels, who spoke to police. How did you think she came across in that interview?
You know, that interview was done far closer in time to the event than today. And so it really gives jurors an opportunity to understand how she was feeling at the time of the interview. I loved the analysis you provided right before the break. You're right. She was calm. She was collected. She knew what she was going to say. And sometimes jurors might wonder whether or not any of that was rehearsed or whether any emotion is appropriate. I mean, lots of jurors can speculate that somebody would or wouldn't behave a certain way after a killing or after a murder or after they're claiming they didn't commit it. But at the end of the day, nobody really knows how those emotions are going to condense. But they do know she was articulate enough to be capable, if they so decide, of coming up with a story. And that's the double-edged sword of this kind of testimony being played, or this kind of interview being played. And then I was jumping ahead of myself. It also plays into whether or not defendants like this choose to testify.
That's a good point, that it is a double-edged sword, because it may mean that she could be more calculating. I liked that we could hear from this detective, kind of the good cop, bad cop that they played. The detective who's actually testifying, Carrie Skinner, she's the one who said, I wanted her to think that I know you didn't do it, I'm sympathizing with you. But they were able to get out some important things, Wendy.
These are trained investigators, and those are the types of investigators that are doing homicide cases. They also were able to build rapport, and that's one of the benefits of playing the actual interview. I almost said interrogation, but that's what the defense is going to argue. It was an interrogation, but jurors can hear the tone and tenor of the back and forth, and that they were trying to make her comfortable. And you could hear that she didn't appear to be in distress much of the time as she's relaying the information very cooperatively. So I would say this is one of the benefits of having recorded interviews at the outset, is it really gives the jurors a flavor of what the defendant was like shortly after the alleged crime was committed. So I think it's dynamite evidence. We'll see what the defense does on cross-examination, trying to poke holes in it.
Yeah, let's go into that now. On the stand, Detective Carrie Skinner with the Henderson Police Department there in Nevada. She interviewed the defendant with another officer, and the defense is now crossing her.
Detective Skinner, if we could start with a timeline of 8/7.
Okay.
Specifically in reference to Devyn.
Yes.
Right? It's your understanding that she was initially interviewed at 12:11, just after noon on 8/7, correct?
Would that be that first interview with Ozawa and Pappas?
Correct.
I'm not familiar with the timeline. That sounds about right.
And then at 14:29 hours on 8/7, you and Detective Ozawa go to the Porcupine Rim residence.
Yes, sir.
And when you arrive, you see Devyn getting things out of the Nissan, correct?
Yes.
The Nissan was parked, the Yamato was parked in the driveway, correct?
It was.
While you and Detective Ozawa are walking up in the driveway, it's your testimony that this phone at issue is next to the driveway, correct?
Yes.
Next to the Armada.
Fairly close.
And then at 15:08 hours, Devyn is interviewed at the Porcupine Rim residence by both yourself and Detective Ozawa in the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And then it's at 15:20, while Devyn is being interviewed, the girls bring up the phone, correct?
Yes.
So the phone has been out there, at least based upon your seeing it, from at least 14:29 hours, correct?
Yes, it is.
And it's nearly an hour or so later than the girls bring up the phone. Fair to say?
Yes.
There's discussions concerning this phone, Daddy's phone, something along those lines, correct?
Yes.
And the phone is looked into, correct? It's handled.
It was handled, yes.
At this point in time, the airplane mode is not switched on, correct?
Correct.
So if there's notifications on the phone, presumably those notifications now, by operation of looking at the phone, getting into the phone, those are no longer there, correct?
Fair to say.
Devyn confirms that it's Jonathan's phone.
She does.
And in fact says, here, this should help you, correct?
Yes.
And then at 1919, a search warrant for Porcupine Rim and the vehicles is signed, correct? Was there a previous affidavit that had been submitted for the search of the Porcupine residence, or was that the first?
I am not certain on that.
Detective Ozawa would
Yes, sir.
probably be better suited.
Yes.
But we do know that at 7/19 or 1919, a search warrant for the Porcupine Rim vehicles was signed, correct?
Yes.
And then this interview, this last one that we were listening today, began at 1955.
Yes.
And obviously reference then is made to this phone again, correct? The phone that's found.
That's correct.
Through the course of this interview that we heard last week and this week, there's reference made to Jonathan losing his license, correct? Previously.
His wallet, I believe.
Okay. And in fact, you've learned through the course of the investigation there were texts that confirmed that.
Yes.
So there have been texts between Devyn and Jonathan wherein, hey, Jonathan's lost his license. It's found, and there's a discussion in reference to that, correct?
Again, specifically, she mentioned wallet.
Okay. But they were actually both lost at one point in time, were they not? At one time the wallet and another time the license, and they communicate concerning the losing of the wallet and the license and the finding of both in their text
You
messages?
could make the assumption that the license is in the wallet. However, I'm only privy to what she disclosed to us, which was his wallet specifically, and that he had sent a picture to prove that he found it.
But then I told there are pictures to prove, in fact, and corroborates what she had said, that prior to your interview on this date, he lost his wallet and or license and found them, and they texted about it, correct?
Correct.
There had been, through the course of your interview, a reference made to Andrea, Jonathan's previous girlfriend, and the pulling of a knife, something along those lines, correct?
Yes.
There was, in fact, an incident somewhere where that had been.
All right, we've got to hit the pause button, but when we come back, we'll have more of this cross-examination of the detective in the case against Devyn Michaels. Stay with us. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae. Thanks for being with us. We are in Nevada listening to testimony in the Love Triangle Beheading Trial. The defendant is a former adult film star, Devyn Michaels. She's accused of killing the father of her children, Jonathan Willett. He was found decapitated in his mother's back room. But the defense says it was not Devyn, it was rather her husband, who was also the victim's son from another relationship, who killed Willett. Still on the stand is the detective who interviewed Michaels right after this happened. She's on cross-examination and about to be asked about the interview techniques used during this interview.
Previously.
I'm sorry, repeat.
There had been an incident where, I mean, there had been some discussion among the family about Andrea pulling a knife or something along those lines.
That's my understanding, yes.
In reference to an injury that Devyn says that John had told her about, she said that she never saw a bleeding injury, correct?
That's correct.
She had said that Jonathan had told her that he had hurt himself moving, correct?
Correct.
She had made reference to a white table that he was moving, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, that white table that she had discussed with you was in the garage.
It was.
Again, it confirms the movement of this table. It had the big folding sides, correct?
Yes.
It was found in the garage. And she made it a point to say she didn't see any blood. He had just said that he'd injured himself moving that, correct?
Yes.
You'd fair to say, I mean, based upon common experience and knowledge, people can hurt themselves, whether it be a cut, a pinch, something like that, in moving heavy furniture.
Yes, absolutely.
There was a discussion concerning some medical conditions that Devyn had, correct?
Yes.
She had talked about this inability to engage in actual intercourse, and you followed up in questions.
I did.
To that, correct?
Yes.
She had said, you can look at my medical records, I have these medical conditions, correct?
Yes.
And are you aware that she, in fact, had medical conditions concerning sex and things that addressed such?
No.
Did you take any follow-up steps to substantiate that she, in fact, had seen a doctor for a variety of different reasons.
At the time, it wasn't relevant. Her medical history and the fact of whether she could be intimate with her partner, it was more of things that were being discussed during an interview to clear up the confusion over the relationship. Since that point, we were very unclear on her relationship with individuals in her life. So at that point, her diagnosis, if she had intimacy issues, it just wasn't something that was relevant to the investigation.
At that point in time.
Correct.
And obviously these investigations they're not necessarily static, they're ongoing, correct?
Yes, very much so.
They're dynamic.
Yes.
Devyn had been interviewed on 8/7, correct?
Yes.
And again, fair to say that both you and Detective Ozawa were kind of having a difficulty understanding this relationship dynamic between the parties.
Absolutely.
Fair to say that Devyn's statements weren't necessarily helpful at times.
You could say that, yes.
Fair to say that Devyn's explanations of things were not necessarily helpful at times.
Correct.
Through the course of your interview with Devyn, you talk about rings and that rings are significant.
Yes.
They're a sign of a commitment.
Yes.
She had testified that she wasn't, or she had told you that she wasn't particularly sure what was in the bag, correct?
Yes.
Things were being moved, things were kind of hectic, correct?
That is correct.
Fair to say it's kind of ambiguous concerning when these contents were put in the bag, correct?
Ambiguous as when they were placed in the bag?
Yes.
No, she indicated that that occurred at a specific time or instance at the home before they turned around and went right back to Porcupine.
But we know for a fact that they actually were at the home and they actually went to the other home, to the Paladera.
Yes.
Again, a lot going on, correct?
Yes.
Devyn had been subjected to multiple interviews on 8/7.
Yes.
There was discussions concerning keys, both the key or keys to the subject truck as well as Andrea keys, correct?
Yes.
And she had told you that she had handled or was aware of the keys in both instances, correct?
Yes, she indicated one had Andrea's name on it and the other one was a set of truck keys that were next to some smoking paraphernalia.
You were able to corroborate that Jonathan was a smoker?
Correct.
Of both tobacco as well as marijuana?
Yes, I believe the lab confirmed that as well.
Yes. When you were at the Paladera residence, obviously there was evidence of smoking both inside and outside the house, correct?
Yes.
As well as alcohol bottles, things of that nature.
Yes.
You had testified that the interview techniques initially concerning Devyn, I think you said were more like free form?
Correct.
Of that nature?
Yes.
But then they became, through the course of the day, more accusatory.
Yes.
You testified that you engaged in another form of interview technique, correct?
Correct.
A more confrontational technique.
Yes.
And that was employed by both you as well as Detective Ozawa.
Yes.
The read technique is generally used by your police department.
I wouldn't say that it's used by our department. A lot of people are trained in the read technique. However, most of us that have been detectives for, several years, we develop our own technique. We'll take a little bit of something that we've learned in a class that works for us, and then there's other times that we'll be taking online courses, or through just our course of our experience, we'll adapt our techniques to our own strengths.
So, however, it's fair to say that you have been trained and implement the read technique.
I have been trained in read, but I don't believe that I'm still implementing that.
Same question, if to your knowledge, Detective Ozawa, the read technique is generally the beginning, the basis of interview techniques.
I would say it's a basis generally, but I don't know that Detective Ozawa has taken that course.
Okay. Early on, and this is now before your interview with Devyn, you were engaged in an interview with Yoko at the Paladura residence, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
That interview began at 10:43 a.m.
Yes.
and concluded at 11:28 a.m., correct?
Yes.
45 minutes.
Very fast.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
You were there to try and gain information to help you in your investigation, correct?
Yes.
She cooperated.
She did.
You didn't have the use of an interpreter, but it was clear that you both understood each other.
Yes.
At times were discussed concerning that night in question.
Yes.
On 3 different occasions, it was discussed a noise that disturbed her at 3 a.m., correct?
I don't recall a noise being discussed.
Dogs barking.
Okay, dogs barking, yes.
On 3 different instances during that interview, there's a discussion of dogs at 3 a.m., correct?
Okay. I would have no reason not to believe you.
And if I showed you the interview transcript, you'd have no reason to disagree.
I would not disagree if I could read them.
So 3 times dogs at 3 a.m., correct?
Sure, yes.
Okay, I'm not tricking you.
Yes, sir.
At no time was there any discussion of a bang or anything like that at 2 a.m., correct?
Not that I recall.
Because that's something that you would have taken note of, because it would have been...
It would have been significant.
I can have the court's indulgence just one moment.
Sure.
Follow-up question concerning the phone. We had discussed the phone being gotten into and not, put on airplane mode, which would have wiped the notifications, correct?
Correct.
Yoko had discussed calling Jonathan multiple times that morning, correct?
Yes.
Outside of it failing to have been put on airplane mode, was the phone ever taken off the network that you're aware of?
That's not something I would be aware of personally.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Yes, very briefly. Detective, with regard to the line of questioning related to the notifications on the phone, you would, I presume, defer to experts on airplane mode and that type of thing, correct?
That's correct.
The fact that there were no notifications on home screen when you first saw the phone, was that important for you for any purpose?
Absolutely. There were statements made by Devyn that she had contacted or tried to contact Jonathan several times. So in my personal experience, I would believe that there would be notifications unless that phone had been interacted with prior to picking it up and bringing it over to the car.
Okay, and there will be an expert that talks about the contents of the phone. That's not for you.
Not my forte.
But let's presume for a second that she did in fact text or call John after his death. Would this be something that you've seen before in cases where people try to alibi themselves or cover up?
Yes, frequently people will call someone they clearly know is deceased. They will go to their work and pretend and put on an act per se.
Okay.
So there are times that does happen.
So, not for you to say, but
no.
It's not surprising to see someone call someone post-murder to essentially alibi and or cover up.
Correct.
I'll pass it.
Some follow-up. You've had investigations where someone leaves a cell phone at home and then goes and commits a serious crime, correct?
Yes.
Again, to perhaps establish an alibi concerning their whereabouts.
Yes.
In reference to the phone, Jonathan's phone, there was communication, specifically a text sent by Devyn to Jonathan about 3:56 a.m., correct?
I'd have to defer to the records, but I have no reason to believe that didn't happen.
And that concerned the girls in registration that was to occur the morning of the 7th, correct?
Yes.
Additionally, we had heard testimony last week concerning a landline at the Paladura residence. There was, in fact, a landline.
Yes, there was.
And on the night in question, late 8/6 into 8/7, there were multiple phone calls.
We're following breaking news out of California. A judge has denied a motion to dismiss the murder charge against Frazier Michael Bohm. He appeared in court today for a pretrial conference where his defense was asking the judge to reconsider a finding from back in April that there was enough evidence to allow this case to proceed to trial. He is charged with 4 counts of murder and vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence for a crash that killed 4 sorority sisters there at Pepperdine University on October 17th in 2023. We'll of course continue to follow Bohm's case and bring you the updates right here on Court TV. When we come back, we'll get you back into that Nevada courtroom for the case against Devyn Michaels.
Mama tried. Now my daddy's crying because I'm in here.
You are the common denominator that led to JD and Big Doug shooting each other in the dark of night.
All right, no party, I'm dying.
Don't you have the blood of both these men on your hands?
I felt guilty for that.
You felt guilty because, frankly, you were guilty.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Court TV.
Let's go back to that Las Vegas courtroom where a former adult film star is on trial for murder after prosecutors say that she bludgeoned and decapitated her ex-boyfriend. Devyn Michaels is facing murder charges for the death of her ex, Jonathan Willett. You see him pictured there on the right. He's also the father of her 2 daughters. But she's pointing the finger at someone else, his adult son that she was actually married to at the time of all of this. Let's get you back into the courtroom listening to testimony from a detective who interviewed Michaels. There's been a back and forth, redirect, recross. Let's pick it up where we left off.
There were multiple calls from the landline at Porcupine to Devyn's phone. Correct?
It's my understanding that there were, yes.
Previous night, that would be the night of August 5th, there were multiple phone calls from the Porcupine residence. That's where Devier and the girls, to Devyn's phone, correct?
I believe so. Again, I'd have to defer to the records to be certain.
Fair. Thank you. No further questions.
Any follow-up?
No, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, have any questions for this witness? Sir, you can write your question on a full sheet of paper with your name and your juror number, and counsel can approach.
Looks like they're taking a sidebar there, and it's likely to discuss the questions that they are going to be getting sometimes after each witness testifies. We'll see if the judge says anything about what comes next, because it looks like the sidebar has broken up.
Just very briefly, and it involves actually the phone. The girls were handling the phone prior to being given to you, correct?
I did not see the girls. I would assume that they were handle it. They had to pick it up and bring it over to us. Now, whether they manipulated it, I couldn't tell you.
Swiped up, anything like that, you can't
Could not
say.
tell you. They appear to have just walked over from where the phone was and up to their mom's side of the car.
But just so we're clear, though, that phone was out in the driveway for some time, correct?
It was, yes.
In fact, through the course of Devier's interview, he had made reference to that phone, correct?
I wasn't in that interview, so I couldn't speak to that.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any follow-up on that case?
No, thank you.
Do ladies and gentlemen, the jury have any further questions for this witness? Okay, seeing no response, ma'am, your excuse. Thank you very much for your testimony here today.